I thought I would try using this platform a little differently. For about 10 months now, I've just been surrounded and bombarded by a ton of negative news. And I'm sure you feel the same. If you scroll through most news outlets having to do with Israel or the Jewish world, it's all just war and Gaza and death and destruction and lots of blowing things up. And I certainly have proudly contributed to all of it, but every so often I run across a story or an article that's just positive or good or a little different, maybe just weird, but it gets completely drowned out by all the noise. So I thought I would take a few minutes to just highlight some of those stories that at least that I've seen the last few days. Like the US is resuming flights to Israel. And that's big. And when I say the US, I mean US carriers like Delta and United are resuming their routes. And for myself and many others, that's really important. Speaking of important, this is an important article I read. Israel officially has the highest milk yield per cow in the world at 12,265 kilograms per cow per year. And that's an increase of 1.6% from last year. And Denmark, who is in second place, only produced 10,571 kilograms per cow. So I know this information is really important to a lot of us. Oh, and there's a little place called Saad. And that's where the cow that produced the most milk in the world lives. It's a cow named Karta, and she produced a whopping 18,208 liters of milk. So for a different measurement, if you want a different way of looking at it, she created roughly about 18,000 trips to the bathroom for those that are lactose intolerant. But switching gears, let's look at the US. As a Jewish person in the US, we have some good Jewish trendsetters that I can be pretty proud of. But we also have some really lousy ones, like real bad ones that just leave a horrible taste in your mouth. Like think about, I don't know, the Sackler family who pushed the opioid epidemic, or Harvey Weinstein who kicked off the Me Too movement. And we got a double hitter with Sam Bankman-Fried and Bernie Madoff. If you want Ponzi schemes, like we got you covered. But recently, we have someone to celebrate. As a Jewish person, I can be proud that this week, the oldest man in the US made headlines. His name is Maury Markov, and he's 110 years old and Jewish, and he made headlines because this week he died. Now the oldest man in the US is someone named Vincent something or another, and if he kicks the bucket, it's gonna be a way down that list before you find another Jewish person. But still, until this week, we held onto that title for some time, and considering that survival is like a fundamental Jewish theme, I'm really proud of this one. Oh, and here's some news. My mother has published her new book, a collection of short stories, or rather, she published it recently, but I can finally say something about it on here. So, Mom, congratulations. I know you put a ton of work into this, and I promise to read it soon. I know I probably could have read it already, and probably should have, but I've read the reviews, and they are very positive. And if I don't read it now, I promise that after you die, hopefully a long time from now, I will read it back to back and cry profusely and probably regret not reading it much sooner. This one's odd. So in New York, there has been an ongoing exhibit or memorial to the Nova Music Festival massacre. It started here in Israel and it moved over there. And this week, right outside of it, was a large pro-Hamas demonstration. And I want to be clear about that terminology, a pro-Hamas demonstration. Anyway, in the crowd, you had a lot of people yelling how proud they were of Hamas, perpetrating a massacre that killed 400 music lovers. And while simultaneously, they were saying it didn't happen and that it wasn't so bad and that there's so much fake news about it and blah, blah, blah. It was sort of a praise and denial at the same time. You see the contradiction here? What I'm saying, guys, is you gotta pick a lane. You can't have both here. They contradict. Anyway, that's a summary of some of the overlooked news that I've seen recently. And as for myself, I'm currently working on a few projects simultaneously. One is a short piece about Nova Festival survivors who once a week put on a closed community Nova-styled party as a form of almost trans therapy or exposure therapy. It's very interesting and very controversial, which hopefully I'll be able to finish that article pretty soon. I'm also working on a video also regarding around Nova survivors in terms of Haifa University that has created a study revolving around Nova survivors that were using psychedelics and substances on October 7th and how that's affecting their trauma and PTSD. You know, the difference between how ketamine and acid might have affected a person going through that kind of massacre and the after effects. I'm also working on a story about reservists who have been stationed in the north for months and simultaneously following their loved ones back at home to see how they're surviving being far apart from each other in a time of war, taking care of the family versus being on the front lines. And then I'm working on a short documentary that I've been working on for quite a while about Perach Pilo, the oldest and last survivor to be found alive at Kibbutz Be'eri, and her story, which is a fascinating, very symbolic story that's just going to take a while to make. So hopefully a lot of great films are coming down the line, and if you like some of these stories I was highlighting, let me know and I'll start digging up more of them every so often.